gentlemen, welcome back to the World OTT Show. What a great discussion that was with Greg Armshaw, Head of Media Asia, Brightcove. And right now we're on our business panel discussion on key aspects of successful OTT business, what business model to choose for your business. We're looking at talking about how to keep and grow your user base, pros and cons of OTT business model, looking beyond ads and subscription, how to solve three main sources of customer satisfaction and technologies for the business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome our next set of speakers. First up, Siddhartha Roy, Chief Operating Officer, Hungama Digital Media, India. Well, Siddhartha leads the company's consumer and business initiatives across its multiple verticals, including Hungama Music, one of the most popular music streaming services in India. Thank you so much, Siddhartha, for joining us today.
Thank you, Bhavna.
Pleasure having you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, joining Siddhartha is going to be Soy Thura, the Chief Operating Officer, KMA, Telemedia, Myanmar, joining us. Well, Soy is a successful executive with over a decade of track record for leading diverse production management, developing innovative TV programs and TV series. Thank you so much, Soy, for joining us today, live from Myanmar.
Thank you. Greetings from Myanmar.
Thank you, Soy. Ladies and gentlemen, also joining us is Zubin Jimmy Dubash, the COO, Digital Businesses, Shemaroo, India. Well, Zubin is a hands-on business leader with over 20 plus years of experience in leading digital business across global brands and garage startups. He builds, operates, and scales businesses. Thank you so much, Zubin, for joining us live from India.
Thank you, Bhavna.
Pleasure having you here. Joining our eminent panelists is also Ajeng Parameswari, the President of Digital Business, Visinema, Indonesia. Well, Ajeng is an enthusiastic business strategic planner in banking and finance companies and specializes in business development and project management. Well, Ajeng has solid track records from the front end and the back end of business strategy in her field. Thank you so much, Ajeng, for joining us today.
Thank you, Bhavna.
Pleasure having you. Also joining our eminent panelists is Frederick Jebada, the VP Marketing and Business Strategy, CNN, Indonesia. Well, Frederick is a business strategist with more than 12 years of experience in analog and digital media industry in Indonesia. He develops media and beyond media business model for companies' revenue. Thank you so much, Frederick, for joining us today.
Thank you, Bhavana.
Pleasure having you, Frederick. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to introduce the moderator for this panel discussion, Paolo, Cuttorelli, VP and GM, Evergent Singapore, joining us. Well, Paolo currently is taking care of the MENA and APAC regions, leading the sales and account management division, and is accomplished technology leader with 20 plus years of working experience for digital tech vendors, and in the last 10 years has focused on streaming video and OTT. Thank you so much, Paolo, for joining us today live.
Great to be here. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, with the eminent panelists, I'm not going to step in between. I'd now like to leave it in the able hands of Paolo to take it forth with the panel. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Bhavana. And hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever World OTT Show Asia, which is hosted by Trescon. My name is Paolo Cuttorelli, and I'll be your moderator for the session. And we're going to explore the business side of OTT. Just a bit about me first. As was said, I lead Evergent's business across Asia Pacific, the Middle East, and Africa. And for those of you that don't know, Evergent provides integrated revenue and user management solutions for some of the world's leading media and communications companies. Our goal really is to reduce time to market for products and services, simplify monetization models, and run back office processes more efficiently. I'm super excited to be here today moderating a panel about key aspects of successful OTT businesses. You know, being in the OTT space for over 10 years now, one of the most pressing questions that I hear from industry leaders is, how do we make money with OTT? Well, you're in luck. We're going to talk about exactly that. We're going to talk to some industry leaders from across Asia Pacific about different OTT business models, what it takes to be successful in the space, and strategies and insights from their specific markets. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. And since we've already met everyone, let's dive right into the discussion. And the first topic that we're going to start with is really, which business models are working for our panelists in their respective businesses. As I said, we have a pretty diverse set of business models, regions represented here. So I'm looking forward to hearing what our panelists have to say. We're going to start with you, Sid. Sid, for those that don't know Hungama, maybe you can give us just a very brief overview about your service and how Hungama is monetizing on OTT.
Thank you, Paolo. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone at the World OTT Show. Hungama is a 20-plus-year-old company in the space of digital media and entertainment. We have roughly about 95 million active users on a monthly basis across our music, video, and gaming services. We've largely built our business across transactions as a structure which you would call as event or subscription-based models. Advertising is a certain percentage of our business, but continues to grow as the larger opportunity on video continues to unfold from an India context. What you see in a nutshell, what's happened out of India is that on the back of two fundamental changes, there's been this massive hockey stick growth on consumption. One has been on the back of data and the fact that data prices itself have come to, we are probably the cheapest market in the world, where for roughly about $1.50 to $2, you are able to get 30 gig of data on a monthly basis. So that itself drives a massive amount of consumption. To just give you a statistical detail, in FY20, India was consuming roughly average 17 gig of data per person. And the second big transformation was the fact that there was the device. So it was device and data that led to this massive explosion of consumption of entertainment, and video, music, gaming became the core drivers of that construct. In terms of the overall opportunity that is there in India, India is currently sitting at roughly about 600 million data users, of which we believe roughly 350 to 400 million consumers are today consuming some form of entertainment. We believe over the next 2 to 3 years, this is going to roughly get to about 600 to 700 million consumers. And I mean, India is not about a winner takes all, because the market is extremely complex and diverse. There are 7, 8 key languages in which entertainment gets created, and there is a massive opportunity for creation of local products, including global entities coming in and playing their part within the overall ecosystem. To just share with you, if I was to look at a typical analogy to other media formats in India, India has roughly 800 plus TV channels, which is a mix of news, broadcast, GC, general entertainment, and niche programming. If you were to look at that format of media, and then you were to compare that to the space around digital entertainment, it rallies the same kind of mix where businesses, sustainable businesses, can be created on the back of you creating a focused niche on a specific market, and the market is big enough to create a model that is able to sustain. In Hungama, we have in the bottom leg, as I call it, we have the SVOD business, which is our subscription business. We layer this on pay-per-view. We represent Warner Brothers and certain other large film libraries where we get in day and date with the US with regards to release. And that's an opportunity that is starting to develop in India. And then you taper that off with a certain amount of advertising, because the advertising market in India continues to be challenged on the back of sizable supply growth vis-a-vis the overall demand of advertising not being able to pace that growth, which means that pricing and yields will always be under question and being pressurized in that sense.
That's great. Thank you so much, Sid. So it sounds like you're offering a combination of pay-per-view, SVOD, and also AVOD as well. Thank you so much. Let's shift to Frederick from CNN Indonesia. Can you tell us a bit more about your service and how you're approaching OTT monetization?
Okay, Paolo. As in some countries, we in the media industry use OTT to deliver selected content to audiences who missed news and information broadcast on our TV platform. Every day, there is quite a lot of content being produced with so many alternatives in the market. The audience is of course, fragmented. We certainly focus on the value proposition that we offer as a news brand, and choose to run an ad-based business model. You know, like we play something in-stream, out-stream, etc. Why we don't choose another business model? I think with the economic level of our society in Indonesia, there is so many choices. It's currently quite difficult for a company like us to enter into a subs-based model or transactional based, unless it really has. We have a killer or a very exclusive content, but investment into that business model is on the planning stage. For this model, of course, is very low cost without content acquisition, of course. Then we take advantage of our media ecosystem to get traffic or content promotion. We call it ecosystem driven. On the other side, because we prioritize viewership for advertisers, we have to be more, search engine friendly. Then we have to pursue a strong positioning in a market, so that we always become the first choice. Paolo.
That's great. So it sounds like, as you might expect, CNN being a news site, is primarily monetizing using an advertising-based approach. We'll come back to that as well, because I'd like to ask a bit more about how that's working out for you. Let's go to Ajeng. You run a service called Bioskop Online. I hope I pronounced that correctly, for the Indonesian market. Can you tell us a bit more about your service and how you're choosing to generate revenue from your service?
Okay, Bioskop Online is part of the Visinema group, one of the most prominent content entertainment company in Indonesia. Visinema has been acknowledged as an award-winning company since like 12 years ago, and the group has been noticed as a progressive one in the industry, since we have built end-to-end capacity within our group, from creative and production to distribution, and we do even have the animation for right now. So the pandemic has changed everything, including the way we enjoy entertainment. Movie theater closed and film industry got a major hit, since its main revenue coming from the ticket purchase. So since the beginning, even before the pandemic started in Indonesia, but already viciously hit other regions, we have anticipated the impact of the pandemic to film industry when it comes to Indonesia. And we just knew that we need to create something new to live and our comfort zone in order to survive. And we also believe that we need to survive together, not only Visinema that we need to save, but also others such as filmmakers, producers, crew, talent, and everyone else who is part of the system. So we create Bioskop Online to fulfill that purpose. And in Indonesia, a movie theater is called Bioskop. So hence, Bioskop Online is a simple name which will be easily remembered by public when they refer to something they can watch online. So although the growth of theater screen show a positive trend in Indonesia, but it is still very small compared to the population. In 2020, the numbers of screen was around 2,000, whilst the population was 270 million. At the same time, internet penetration reached 70%. So we're looking at big numbers here and a huge opportunity. So Bioskop Online is a platform that is focused on the local content. Our vision is to give easiness for Indonesia people to access Indonesian movies. And we truly believe that TVOD is the most suitable business model to accomplish that vision. There are many streaming platforms available nowadays, and most of them require subscription. So realistically, no user is willing to subscribe to all platforms, but surely they want to enjoy as many as content they desire to watch. Thus, we offer TVOD, which offer easiness to the user. They only need to pay the content they watch, no subscription needed, no fixed cost, and it's not only more efficient, but also reasonable for our users.
Thank you so much, Ajeng. Yeah, it sounds like you're offering a purely kind of transactional model, and you're kind of born from the situation we've all been in for the past year and a half. This pandemic, people couldn't go out and watch movies, so you've offered them something that is more online focused. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's go now to Zubin from Shemaroo. Zubin, can you tell us more about your popular service, Shemaroo, and the models that seem to be working for you? I think you're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. So, yeah, a little bit about Shemaroo. Shemaroo is, of course, a 6-decade-old organization, DNA being video content, period. We've been doing this for the last that many years, and we understand the pulse of not just the ecosystem, but also the consumer, very importantly. So we've been in the space, and what we basically looked at right since the time we started our journey was, if video content is what the consumer has to consume, how do we bring it to him using technology? And whatever the technology changes are, we'll come on to those technologies to deliver the best experience of content to the customer, whether it's through the B2B route or the B2C route. And primarily, we've been a B2B player all our journey, except in the last 2 years, maybe 3 years, we've actually shifted gear and also introduced a B2C play. Shemaroo happens to be the flagship destination for our B2C play in the digital space. It's an OTT platform that contains all our content on it. We've got about close to 25,000 hours of content across various genres. And Bollywood is one of our flagship genres that we focus on, along with regional cohorts. So in India is, of course, a bunch of many states. Each state is probably bigger than many countries put together. So one of them is Gujarati, which is on the west of India. It's a state called Gujarat. And a lot of unmet demand exists out there. So we've created a good cohort out there and created an entire foray of blockbuster movies, blockbuster web series, as well as plays, which is theater, which is very popular in that genre. And creating that kind of content where we know that the market exists to pay. And at the same time, there is definitely an opportunity for us to grow and create an opportunity to win in that market. And pretty much that's been our strategy. So we are going to be looking at cohorts. One of them is, of course, Gujarati. Another cohort within the Bollywood space is the classic space. And we believe it's a very unmet, underserved market because it's very high in demand and very sticky. So what happens there is that the classic customer is someone who does not get all his content in one place. He has to go and scour for it. So we actually go and get that, curate it, and give him an entire experience that he's willing to pay for. When it comes to SWOD and AWOD models, I can just give you a quick brief on how the entire journey has been in the industry. So if you look at when the OTT industry started about 5 years ago in India, the entire motive at that time was habit change. You wanted customers to move from television to digital as a consumer habit. And for that, there was, of course, the only thing that could have been done was driving customers to a destination and saying, prime time is your time. There's no more prime time. So you can go on to an app and watch your favorite content at any time you want it. So that was the key hook for customers to change habit. Having said that, OTT delivery is not cheap. Okay, so you had to mitigate your cost by getting in large number of customers, but you had to mitigate your cost by even making sure you get some ad dollars coming in there. That's where AWOD played a role. AWOD is not a model that actually makes money. It will never make money in the long run as well. It is basically a mitigation monetization model for mitigating your costs of operation of the AWOD business. And eventually, the next phase was about saying, let's try and get people to consume first on OTT by chucking in a few web series originals and saying first time on OTT, then on television. So they tried to change that habit and push the envelope a little bit further. And then, of course, once that has been done, and last year being the entire lockdown year when the whole OTT business was more like coming of age, because that's when people took OTT mainstream. That was the only thing that they could consume sitting at home. And even that's when they even figured that, yes, there's value in paying for it. So we saw early signs of paying and subscriptions happening, which is where you see most of the players even today have all pivoted to subscription models. Within the subscription models today, there are about very two clear directions that we're going into. One is B2B and the other is B2C. B2C is, of course, we want customers to come onto our own platform and consume content. B2B is, like in the earlier discussion, the gentleman from Brightcove was talking about saying, how do you make other brands appreciate your content and give it to them for free, give it to their customers for free? And I think that's where the B2B game lies. We've been playing that game. We work with over 60 brands right now, where we offer content as a solution or content as a service. Because we know content well, what we do is we work with the brand or with the sector for that matter and say, if we can become a reason for your objectives to be met, then I think there's very much a synergy in doing business together. And that's the fundamental ethos of our business dealings with most of our B2B partners. And that way we also figure that each one of them becomes a line item in our top line. So having said that, I think at least as a strategy within Shemaroo, we're very revenue focused, we're very ROI and profitability focused, and we look at businesses with that lens that are scalable and at the same time monetized and profitable in the long run.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Zubin. It sounds like you're experimenting with a few different sort of distribution models, direct to consumer, via other businesses as well. That's something that we see a lot of within this region specifically as well. So thank you so much for that. And last but not least, we have Sotura. Sotura, can you tell us a little bit more about the work that you're doing at KMA Telemedia?
Yes. First of all, thank you for the organizer and then the inviting for us. And nice to meet you all, the panel discussionists, and also, yeah. So this is about the KMA. We just newly entered the broadcasting industry. Yes, we started from 2018. We are a digital free-to-air channel, and then we try to move on OTT platform also. Yes, now we are also under the construction for the OTT platform, and we have some content, and we also have a OTT app also, which is also named Channel Game. Yeah, and we are in content development stage. Yeah, and now it's temporary stop for the situation right now in Myanmar. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And yeah, and as a side note, I know that the situation in Myanmar obviously is quite challenging at the moment. How has that affected your business and specifically OTT?
Yeah, you all know we the broadcaster entertaining the people, so the people has to be enjoy the situation. But right now is most of the people is and enjoying the situation. So we have to stop we are doing entertaining, but we have to start some new and some sort of the program also. And we have some difficulty, for my point of view, the OTT and the broadcaster also still has broadcasted or survive. So, but there might be some restriction regarding the content. So content provider and OTT owner need to be pay in mind that which type of audience they want and to attract and align with the policy. So yes, right now is we just align with the policy. So there are some restriction with the government rules and regulations. So yes.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, and stay safe. And obviously, we wish you and all those in Myanmar,
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So the next topic we'd like to touch on is innovation and how our panelists are staying ahead of the curve when it comes to innovating for their service. Revenue models are constantly evolving. This requires a good degree of organizational agility, responsiveness. How are your companies staying nimble as consumers' needs evolve and as competitive pressures heat up, right? We have a lot of international players now coming into Asia, Southeast Asia, India, across the entire region. So yeah, just succinctly, how are you guys kind of attacking this, Zubin? How do you guys make sure, Zubin? How do you guys make sure that you're maintaining agility?
So as I said, our entire focus is around the consumer. We're trying to see what he wants and how he's changing, how he's behaving with our service on an ongoing basis. What we also saw is, what we do is we take a lot of feedback from customers verbatim and actually take recordings of what they say and what they do to understand what they really want, what's that deep insight that comes out of their needs, And I think that's where the genesis of innovation lies. Sometime last year, I'll give you some case studies. Sometime last year, we saw customers, of course, being extremely clogged up at home, and they had nowhere to go. And in India, movie watching is actually a family outing on a weekend. It's actually one part of a dinner and an outing and all of that. It's entertainment. So they were missing all of that, and they needed some sort of a thing to kind of come back and probably fulfill that at home as well. So we actually did a quick tie-up with Book My Show, which is the Indian ticketing platform here. We also got some movies that were due to release on theater but could not, and therefore had to release in digital. Got them to come on to our platform on a pay-per-view ticketing model. So you can buy your tickets on Book My Show, you could buy your tickets on Shemaroo, but watch it on Shemaroo. And that's where we actually started the first, digital premiere, world digital premiere. Actually, not even digital premiere. I'd say the OTT premiere of a film direct on to an OTT platform, and that got us some good traction initially, and we do continue that. But now that theaters are opening up, of course, producers want their films to get that larger than life theatrical experience, and it does get its rub off on digital also after that. So there's a mix between the two, but that was one really good innovation we did out there last year. Another one I could talk about is we've been seeing that customers are constantly looking at uh, we look at what they watch constantly and seeing what is it that triggers them to keep their subscriptions on. And renewal is a big factor, because soon auto renewal in India through the bank's routes are going to get stiffer, and there's going to be even more stringency on auto renewal and auto renewal mandates through banks. So a customer subscribing to a monthly plan may not be subscribing the next month. You'll have to reacquire him. How do you make sure that he stays on board? So what we've been doing is giving a customer a promise. So in India, or rather, I would say everywhere in the world, people are not platform loyal, they're content loyal. So if you find some great content on another platform, they'll land up there. So, and they'll take it only for that piecemeal. They probably take the 1 month pack for that particular platform, watch it and move on. Now, to change this habit, what we said is we will give you a promise of great content at a frequency. And we've created that as our model, saying once a week, we'll give you a brand new piece of content, whether it's in Gujarati, whether it's in Bollywood. We have a Bollywood premiere service. We have a Gujarati premiere service. And both of these are actually our promise to change that game and say, you know what, you're actually committing to a membership. You're not just committing to a one-off transaction. And that's really working well for the SWOT model. For that matter, we just launched something called a 2-year subscription, not just a 1-year subscription. And we're seeing some great traction, especially within our cohorts of Gujarati and Bollywood classic.
Excellent.
So both of these are working really well for us.
Great.
Just some anecdotes out there.
That's great. That's super interesting, and it does sound like you've been able to, in the face of the pandemic, kind of adapt your systems effectively to to basically capture the market, which is great. Let's go to you, Frederick. What's your strategy for ensuring that your systems and platforms are up to snuff when it comes to meeting users and consumers on their own terms as your business evolves?
Okay, Paolo, with this business model, we focus on two priorities, viewership and, of course, business. Viewership in the first place and advertiser next. You know, when COVID-19 entered Indonesia in early 2020, the government imposed social restriction. It disrupted business, and of course, the impact on the advertising budget was reduced. On the other hand, because people are at home, the consumption of information, especially regarding the COVID-19, is very high. We get high viewership, but not followed by business numbers or our direct sales. The increase in traffic gave us a new perspective on the treatment of the content that the audience is interested in. We try to focus on providing the best experience for the audience. Like Zubin said before, we serve what people really need at the time. In addition to focusing on developing issues or events, on breaking news, we also focus on the treatment of impressions that are more attractive to the audience. Back to earlier question from Paolo, there are some contents that get higher viewers on the TV, but when we put that content on the OTT, the viewership only on the average numbers, vice versa. The characteristic of the audience are different on each platform. We also trying to syndicate with other platform in our ecosystem to give the comprehensive experience to the audience and to make it more optimal for the viewership number. That's it, Paolo.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Frederick. That's extremely interesting. One of the things I wanted to talk about next, I just wanted to pivot the discussion slightly and think about what's coming ahead. Part of this discussion was to be what's next for OTT and monetization. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as we look beyond ads and beyond subscriptions to think of how will people be monetizing on OTT, let's say in 5 years' time. Will they be a dominant model? Will we still be with AVOD and SVOD and TVOD? Or will it be more blended models? Will we start seeing things like e-commerce or betting or branded sponsorships, as Greg was discussing in the previous section? Will that stuff become significant? So maybe for this one, we can start with you, Ajeng.
Okay. Well, we see that movie theaters successfully selling merchandise in their outlet, and Bioskop Online did it too. One of our original movie in collaboration with our own IP named Philosophy Copy. Philosophy Copy is very famous in Indonesia. It has been expanded from movie to various platforms such as coffee shop, cafe application, and also clothing line. We did cross-selling to sell Philosophy Copy t-shirt that has been worn by one of the cast. And the program was very successful. All the t-shirts were sold out and continued with massive pre-order. And I think this can be upgraded in the future when the technology is supporting, where they can do shopping while watching the movie by just typing the desired item in movie scene that they were watching. So, and also we also plan to do cross-selling with Campus. It's an online learning platform owned by Visinema Group as well. This platform offers online classes from maestro across sector in Indonesia. The classes are various from leadership to copy making. It also provides filmmaking related classes such as directing, script writing, and acting. And the idea is that the user can enroll Campus classes directly from Bioskop Online platform. So yeah, I personally believe that there won't be a dominant model in the future. Each OTT needs to be truly understand who they are and what are user preference, and they need to continuously to evolve.
Excellent. That's really great. Yeah, what you said made me think about Netflix now, right? Now they've also opened up an online shop where they're selling merchandise related to the shows, and that becomes a new revenue model for them.
Yeah,
that's great. Thank you so much, Sid. I'm sure you've got an opinion on this. We spoke the other day in preparation. I think people will be monetizing, let's say, in 5-6 years' time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll break this into two. Yeah. One is I believe that the AI ML layer of our services will get a lot more deeper, a lot more immersive as we come to know about consumption patterns of users, and in turn take the user a lot more deeper into our products. So that's one. Basis which you will have a set of other formats of content and media monetization that's going to come about. So for example, we've been doing it over the last 1.5 to 2 years, where there've been very large brands in the category of beverages, which is largely the liquor space, who have certain restrictions in India, who've been working extensively to build out actually original content. And this is not about their liquid being poured or surrogate advertising being done. It's largely what the brand stands from in terms of the kind of TG they want to be addressing, what are the values, if it's the area of music, if it's the area of entertainment, if it's in the area of gaming, you're actually creating content which is actually an original series. You're taking that out with the brand, making that available in a paid environment. So it's not that this is an AFP in a typical manner where I would go out, get an AFP done, ad funded entertainment content created, and then I would just run it just to get eyeballs and in effect get my effective KPI and media delivered. This is not the case. You actually develop it as an out and out original piece of content, which is a series or a format that you go out and put within the OTT containers. You go out and get reach out there, and then it actually has legs where it can go back to broadcast as well. We've done that successfully for two large Hungama programs, which were basically brought in as a brand solution layer, where it is about them getting the reach, getting the quality of traffic that we bring out into them, and they being able to communicate their brand essence and values down to consumers, and hopefully that there's a connect out there. So that piece is, I believe, is going to happen a lot more in markets like Asia, where I believe our models will be a lot more hybrid. Even what Frederick was talking about, the fact that the entire in-video advertising going through certain changes, all of that, this is all reflective of that value. From that, what Ajeng was saying as well, the entire e-commerce layer has the ability, because our players are becoming a lot more intelligent. If our players are a lot more intelligent and we are able to fingerprint content, we can create discovery of that commerce layer. And to be really, really clear, in the advertising space, that is actually the holy grail.
And that's perfect, because that actually segues nicely into the next topic that I wanted to discuss, was really around, technology. We're a technology provider, and I'm always interested to know, what role technology can play in maximizing your revenue, really from your creative content, right? So what are the key tech challenges that you think are facing OTT monetization, and how do you think these challenges can be resolved? And let's talk about it with an eye towards what's going to be happening, let's say, in the next 5 years. And if you want to continue that thought, Sid, I'll give you kind of the first one. And just to say, we've only got 10 minutes left, 5-10 minutes left. So we'll try to keep the answers succinct, if that's okay, from everybody, because I want to get everybody's take on this.
In a nutshell, Paolo, the way I look at it, see, we are at the end, if we don't put tech in the middle of our business, then we're kidding ourselves, really. Because at the end of the day, success of our product is, in my mind, linked to the three core spoke of content, technology, and consumer, in that sense, out there. You tell the right story, you got to tell it in the right container. So seamlessness of payment. The fact that what Zubin was talking about in India, that there have been constant changes in the way events to recurring is happening. We need stability and clarity on being able to build sustainable models in business. Now, suddenly, all of us are moving out to annual plans in India, because if it is event, then I might as well do an annual plan purchase of the user, because my effective CAC will not work out if I'm doing monthly plans. As you go into an annualized construct, suddenly your funnel reduces considerably, because then the logic of the fact that India is 97% prepaid, people don't have money in their wallets, all of those layers come into play. That's one. Second is going to be obviously how we marry recommendation, personalization into our products. I believe all of us in that sense are learning in the job, as I'd say, because when data comes out and you see where consumers are dropping out, there is a lot of learning that comes in. It is not necessarily linked to my content is not good because of which the user is dropping out. So in my mind, principally two things: getting consistent clarity on how payments will evolve and how do we marry our product with that payment cycle of the consumer, and then be able to tell our stories for discovery. Second, how can our content consumption move to doing some enablement to commerce where we are part of the larger trillion-dollar economy ecosystem in that sense. So I see these two as both opportunities and the fact that these are challenges within our businesses. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's go on the table here. Probably our last question to speak, we've in less than a minute.
Sorry, are you asking me? My network's a bit off.
No, I was asking Frederick. What he
Frederick,
thinks.
okay.
What are the key challenges? I mean, he's advertising based, right? So you have the whole ad tech ecosystem. There's a lot of players there. What are the key challenges you're facing, Frederick, in your AVOD business that are kind of preventing you or reducing your ability to kind of capitalize on your monetization?
Okay. For local players in Indonesia, of course, the biggest challenge is competing with the global players like YouTube, Netflix, or Amazon Prime. Frankly speaking, they have set the standard for the playing field. The Google or YouTube programmatic model is certainly very powerful. With the ad-based business model, we can optimize in the different ways that are more relevant to the market here. Of course, the development of technology for different audience experience, we will focus more on that. You can see a very good example of what Tencent Music did in China. In the future, people will pay for engagement and comprehensive experience, especially in news too. On our side, we think we have to focus on, something like 360 or VR to bring the audience directly to the scene of the events or breaking news location. Maybe it's easier to imagine how the gaming industry earns revenue from that thing. Paolo.
Thank you so much for that. Let's go to you, Sotura. Same questions. Same question. What is the key technology challenge that you feel you're facing that are kind of inhibiting you or preventing you from effectively monetizing?
Well, in Myanmar, is the key challenge, technology challenge is like the payment system, because right now the mobile banking system is working bad in the rural area. They don't know the bank. They don't go to the bank, and they don't buy anything with the Bitcoin or mobile money. So the thing is that payment. So we try to do the OTT business, but the thing is, if we do AVOD or if we do SVOD, then we need to have a good payment system. But in the urban area, we do have a bank account or mobile banking or whatever it is. So we can have, but in the rural area, they don't have a mobile banking or whatever it is. So even they don't have a bank account. So we just like doing the cash. So the thing is that we are focused. We are linked with the Facebook, and in Myanmar you can buy like a Netflix account or VIU account or Prime Video account in Facebook. So they have an agent, like they are selling like one account per like 10 chat or whatever it is. So the people they buy, some of the people they buy from them, and then so the third party is making the payment on behalf of the real audience. So if you going deep to the focus on how do I say that, the main challenging is like payment system. So you have to be aware of the how Myanmar people is using. So in the bad old days, we use like cash a lot. So, but right now in the situation is the ban is restrict the ban every account, and you can get like 2 lakh per week in personal account. So it's very difficult right now. Yeah. So let's say the main challenge is payment system for the people from Myanmar. Yeah.
Okay. I'm noticing the time. I don't want to go too much over, so I'm going to go right to our final topic, which is a very lighthearted question for each of you, just to have the audience better understand you and what you like to watch on OTT streaming. So I'll do a quick roundtable for everyone. Asking you what was the last thing or last best thing you watched on an OTT streaming service over the past few months. You can talk about your own service, someone else's service. We're not here to judge. Let's go around the table, and we'll start with you, Sid.
Oh, so for me, to be very fair, I mean, I'm a very big fan of the HBO pieces of content. I happen to, between HBO and Showtime, I happen to see the entire Homeland series. It took me like 3 months, 8 seasons. But I mean, if you get the right content and you've got the right story to tell, you are going to. So yes, content is king. There is no doubt about that. But in that sense, distribution tends to be in an equitable format. But if you've got your distribution right, you've got an interesting business to be built. So that's the take.
Cool. What about you, Zubin?
I'm a big Family Man fan, so I saw Family Man 2 and I loved it. Great. Apart from that, Money Heist.
Cool. Great. Ajeng, what have you been watching?
I'm a type of Disney fan, so Marvel series. I think that's one also. But I'm also agree with Sid that I believe that user choose the content of the platform. That's why content is so much important.
Great. What about you, Frederick?
Of course, Paolo, I'm a football lover. If I miss the live broadcast, I won't read the news on online until I watch the highlights on OTT. If it doesn't air on free to air on pay TV, I definitely pay it on. There's an OTT broadcasting it right now. It's an European Cup, and we have Mola here, an OTT platform Indonesia. Like all rule, content is king, and you have a killer one to win the market in terms of viewership or revenue. Also, for the content like this, the acquisition cost is quite large. Yeah, sure. But the most importantly, it can be have an impact on the growth of the OTT ecosystem itself in the future. I think that's
excellent. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. And Sotura, what are you watching?
Yeah, I'm a big fan on Netflix. So I like Narcos, Undercover Agent, some sort of like that. But recently I just finished is like Skater Gay, the Indian movie. So which is very good for the children and also like encouragement. Yeah. So for the Myanmar, it's like Netflix is big, and then after that BIU, and yeah. So I'm the fan of Netflix. So yeah.
Thank you. Those all sound like great options. And that, ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to the end of our panel discussion here at the World OTT Show Asia. It's been my absolute pleasure moderating the panel, exchanging thoughts with some of our remarkable panelists about the business of OTT. I'd like to offer special thanks to the panelists themselves for their insights and for sharing their experiences. I would also like to offer special thanks for the event organizers, TrustCon, for inviting me to moderate the panel and for helping me to prepare for the session. It's been a wonderful experience. And thank you to everyone who made the time to join us today. I hope you found the discussion useful. Finally, to those watching, please feel free to connect with me rather on LinkedIn. And please do keep Evergent in mind if you're looking to simplify your business processes, grow your OTT service, and add operational agility to your business. I look forward to connecting with you. And there are a number of us here from Evergent at the event, and please do feel free to connect with anyone on my team. Thank you again for joining, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you, Paolo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for moderating it so wonderfully. Thank you for that. And thank you so much, Zubin, Zoe, Frederick, Ajeng, and Siddhartha for joining us today at the World OTT Show. What an incredible panel discussion that was. Thank you once again.